Hey, Christopher, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
So, let everybody know exactly what you do. I'm looking at a list of a bio of you, and you pretty much do everything. But can you let everybody know exactly what you do?
I mean, for the most part, I'm an anomalist, and which is a term that has to do with an individual who investigates or assesses, for lack of a better word, anomalies, which are strange phenomena that are aberrant, unusual, out of the ordinary, extraordinary, that would happen, whether due to individuals, people, life forms, environment, things like that.
Did you go through like a personal experience to get into this, or how did you come about becoming what you do?
Wow. I think initially, at the very beginning, I mean, my background was actually in, I was going to college, and actually I was a magician illusionist.
Mm-hmm.
So initially got involved with people coming to me saying that they had hauntings or saw close encounters. From a magical magician standpoint, obviously, I can understand how people can perceive events.
Mm-hmm.
So I would approach these with the cases that would come to me cynically a little bit, always looking for rational explanations, and finding them 50% of the time. At some point, I began working with a parapsychologist, and we took on a parapsychological approach. And for about a decade, I worked with a parapsychologist investigating psychic and parapsychological phenomena, which again includes hauntings and poltergeists and all these phenomena. And we began to unravel more depth behind these phenomena and situations that were credible, that didn't have an explanation. After that, then I was recruited and started working with a scientific group. And I was with that group for about 12 years, and that's where I was trained as an anomalist. And that was a hardcore scientific approach, not as a skeptic, not as a believer, but to simply assess the phenomena itself and try to come to conclusions about it. And 70 to 80% of all those thousands of cases, we did find rational explanations. They were incredible, but rational. But there were also another 20 to 30% where the phenomena defied the laws of nature and physics. It was simply scientifically, we couldn't even conclude how to define these phenomena because they were just so extraordinary. And then, of course, those are the cases where people have been able to define them as poltergeist, hauntings, possessions, things of that effect.
Without naming any names, what is there any one thing that stands out that you're just like, whoa, I can't believe I just saw that, went through it, or anything like that?
Actually, quite a few. There were quite a few. I mean, when you encounter those circumstances where the phenomenon is that extraordinary, it pretty much leaves an indelible mark on you because, I was raised to understand how we have certain laws and theories of how things happen. So when they defy those, you walk away, if that's not the case, then what other situations could be occurring or taking place? And I obviously approach everything with a very open-minded to not rush to those conclusions. The types of phenomena are, of course, well, in the case of the poltergeist phenomena, or like Paranormal Activity, the film depicts a very hybrid phenomenon. Very rare.
Right.
So it's poltergeist phenomena with possession phenomena and occult metaphysical aspects really amp up the story. And I have been on cases like that around the world where environmental things are happening that defy the laws of nature and physics. Basically, temperatures changing 70 to 80 degrees in the environment, furniture flipping over. In this one case I'm currently working in one area of the house, one actual part of the area, all light is being absorbed. Not all of it, but more than any other area. You can open every window, you can put on really tons of light.
Mm-hmm.
And one specific area, the area that when you walk through, you can almost hear whispers.
Oh, wow.
Whispering out of nowhere. And dogs, I mean, as soon as they come near it, they're barking at this area of the expansive area. And it's really truly amazing to see how light is absorbed. Spectrophotometers were brought in to actually see how light is being sucked up in this one area. And again, it's that anomaly environmentally, but there's also a metaphysical aspect that you want to bring in to try to explain it as well. If you're kind of left with no explanation, you're going to have no choice but to, if people are asking for explanations, you have to embrace all the different types of theories that are out there, especially in different parts of the world where cultural beliefs are pivotal.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Paranormal Activity 4, how did you get involved with the films, the franchise? How did that come out?
Very interesting. The writer writer-director-producers of it, originally working on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to figure out how to put out this film, because it's obviously a very unique film, and that means that you can't really promote it in the typical way.
Right.
And they approached me because they knew that I deal with real phenomena that exist volatile. And kind of one thing led to another. We were going to work with Paramount, and they saw that my credibility in actually dealing with real cases of these phenomena gives the entire arena of the paranormal more credibility, a little bit more grounded. It's a discussion forum where, because everyone has had some kind of experience, even if it's a mundane, small experience, which it's the back of his head, regarding a ghost story, if you will, and to open up a discussion regarding people's experiences or things they've heard about is a great way of sort of getting into the spirit before going into the film.
So, for families or people that are out there right now, just like regular old people, is there any, and I know this might be an odd question, but is there any signs to look out for where you might want to think, this isn't normal? Is there anything that kind of like warns people out there to kind of be on the lookout?
Well, I think again, it depends on the type of phenomenon. So let's take our conversation. Let's just focus on traditional poltergeist haunt type of phenomenon.
Right.
Because if you're talking possession, for example, there's a whole other list of things to look at. Again, looking at rational explanations, we have to take into account psychological conditions, psychosis, not to mention, whether it be exposure to drugs or taking drugs or chemicals, things like that. So ruling out possession and the whole variety of other phenomena in counter cases, let's focus on the poltergeist phenomenon. The first thing to keep in mind is if it's something that is potentially dangerous or volatile. Like in any circumstance, if something like that is happening, whether it be in a house, in an office, in a garage, you should get away from the situation.
Right.
You're trying to deal with it or interact with it, which could be potentially happening. That's the first important thing. In a lot of cases when I talk to people about the haunt phenomena that are happening, it's one of these situations, it's very benign. It's like they hear the footsteps in the middle of the night, or they see the apparition, or objects move, and every now and then lights blink, and they figured, okay, it's the spirit or the ghost that's here. And basically, the feedback I give to them is they should really take in power with the circumstance, the situation, and treat it like it's a neighbor's kid that's coming over that bothers you. Mm-hmm. Take the situation and tell it, go away or stop, and it also gives you confidence in dealing with it. Great deal. If the course of phenomenon is more active environmentally, and it's more abrasive, and it's a nuisance in the middle of the night, doors and the slamming, things of that effect, then of course you have to step up how you're going to deal with it, and either trying to rectify it, trying to change it, or trying to get to the bottom of whatever the phenomena is. Interestingly enough, in residual phenomena, which is the theory of what you're experiencing, disembodied spirits or ghosts, mm-hmm. that were in the environment or nearby, that kind of thing. A lot of cases are subjective, whereby you can take a dozen people come in the room, and maybe only 2 of those 12 will actually be able to experience it.
Oh, wow.
The theory in parapsychology is kind of happening on a telepathic level. We're all on different frequencies, and whether it be, DNA or it's a bunch of dynamic circumstances coming together at the right time, only certain people are actually experiencing it. And if that's the case, then, all the video cameras equipment in the world is not going to be able to document what's happening because it's happening on a level of, on a telepathic level, if you will, that cannot be documented and recorded. Unless someone, you're hooked up with a brain mapping machine, you see the different parts of the brain firing because you're picking up voices and sounds and walking and moving around. And in that case, then it's really focused on certain key people. And again, it's a lot of these ways of dealing with it. It's just like with any other situation in life, whether it be a disaster or a relationship breakup, that kind of situation. To some degree, it's really out of your control. The only thing you do have control over it is how you react to it. And in that regard, if you're spiritual, religious, those are things that you should. If it give you strength, those are things that you should obviously try to empathize. If these are things that create fear and make it worse, seek out other people, a support, always have to try a support team with you to try to bring in to see if they can experience it or to help you in dealing with it. And, these are kind of typical things dealing with any kind of situation in life, but they definitely apply to these phenomena as well. And if you don't have someone to turn to or that you can discuss it with, it really make your life dysfunctional because you have this event happening that no one's going to believe you or explain, and that can be very traumatizing for you.
Right. My last question is, why should people go and run to go see Paranormal Activity 4?
Well, each of the movies are at this point, Paranormal Activity 4, it's kind of it's a Halloween tradition at this point. And it's kind of no different from people who are big fans of doing the traditions for Halloween, the haunted mazes, that kind of thing. I think being frightened, being afraid, sitting on a roller coaster, it's our way of reminding ourselves how much alive we are. And it's a great circumstance. You go in there and you get terrified, which is why thriller movies are always so great. Everyone loves them. You can get terrified and you can turn off the TV, you can stop the VR, you walk out of the room and want to be safe. Which is a great feeling because you're in control of that element of fear of those dynamics. And in that regard, the Paranormal Activity film will give you that feeling. You go in there and you're taking on this ride that's terrifying. And the great thing about Paranormal Activity film is the reason it works so well is because they're using this method, this cinema verite mockumentary type of method, where it tricks your mind into believing when you're watching it. Just like any reality show on TV, after a while you begin thinking, well, this is reality. This is the way it really is. And it lets your guard down when the phenomena happen. It presses the right button to make you, fools you into thinking these things are really terrifying. And it's a great trick to take you on, just like, again, when you're doing a haunted maze, and you're walking through some of these mazes, and if you smell the stench of something and something of monster stuff, scares you half to death. It's a fun ride to go on, and I think, I haven't seen this film, Paranormal Activity before, yet, but I think this one, like the rest of them, as you're peeling the onion regarding what the phenomena is, the storyline, and the characters, it just is a continuation of this ride into this pseudo-reality world, and it continues to push those buttons to make you terrified.
Nice. Well, I'm actually, as soon as you and I hang up, I'm going to take a quick shower, and I'm heading off to go watch it myself. So.
Oh, excellent. Great.
So we'll see how it goes. So do you have a website, a Twitter, Facebook, anything to let my people know where they can find you and read more about you?
No, actually, I get that question all the time. I've actually avoided from doing that for long because I have so many clients internationally who the phenomenal investigations I do are very below the radar.
Oh, okay.
For a reason. But, I'm being pushed in that direction, so I'm sure something like that is in the horizon very soon.
Okay, cool. Well, Christopher, I appreciate you taking the time and talking to me, and thanks for all the knowledge, and have a great weekend, man.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Enjoy the film.
All right, thanks. So there you have it. Paranormal Activity 4 hits theaters today. Make sure you check out my blog at iwatchmike.com and follow me on Twitter at Mike the Movie Guy. Peace.